Hi, my name is Lisa Costello. I'm one of the support consultants at Envisage Cloud, and I've been working with the company for about 3 years or so now. What we're going to do today is do a short video on how to run the year-end in Sage 200. So we'll just get it started. So as I said, what we're going to do today is we're going to cover the Sage 200 year-end and how to do it in the account system if you decide to do it in-house. So in preparation of doing your year end, it is generally quite a straightforward process. But before the year end routine is done in Sage 200, the following steps need to be done. So you need first things to be done is to get a backup of the data taken. And with that backup, then it's create a year end company. Now, this isn't something that the general end user can do. So what we normally advise customers is before you're ready to run your year end is log a call with the Envisage support team. We'll log onto your server, take the backup and create the company for you. The next thing you need to do is run your year end reports and then close all of the periods of the current financial year. The reports that we suggest that you run in the system is your age debtors and creditors, your trial balance, your profit and loss, and your balance sheet. One thing we do say is when it comes to your age debtors and creditors, you need to make sure that you run them retrospectively if you're going to compare them back to your trial balance. So if you have moved on and you're now in March and you're running your year end, which was back in December, when you run your debtors and your creditors report, make sure you tick the box to run them retrospectively and put in your year end date. So if it was December, you put in the 31st of December 2020. Then also your trial balance, your profit and loss, and your balance sheet. Now, with all of these reports, we advise export them out to PDF and then also export them to .csv files in case they're needed. There may be additional reporting that your business requires, but these are just the bare minimum reports that are suggested by Sage. If you require any additional reporting, they can be run within Sage. You can double check with your accountant what reports they want to have run for year end. If you have your year end company that's been set up, if you need to go back and rerun any of these reports, or if you realized you ran your debtors and your creditors and it wasn't done retrospectively, once you have your year end company, you can log back in and you can get those. Okay, so we're just going to log into Sage 200. So I have a company here all set up and it's ready to run year end. So what I'm going to use here is some demo data. It's set up for its financial year to be the 31st of December 2020. So the new year will start January 1st, 2021. So the first thing what we need to do is we've ran our reports. We have our year-end company created and we've all of our reports exported to PDF and CSV file. So what we also need to make sure is that all of the periods are closed. So this is going to be done within Sage here. So if we go to, if we go to Accounting System Manager, and in here we choose the option for Accounting Periods and then Maintain Accounting Periods. Okay, so you can see here, I have just December open. If you find that when you come in here, if you click on one of the periods and you don't have the option to change the period status, your permissions may need to be amended, and you'll see this option here, maintain accounting period user permissions. In here, it will be set who can open and close the accounting periods. If you're on one of the versions from 2019 and above, when you click onto one of the periods, you'll have the option to close all. So without having to go into each ledger and closing them one by one, you can just click on one and close all. If you're using one of the earlier versions, so pre-2019, you'll need to select each period one by one and close them one by one, and leaving the nominal adjustments to the last one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close the last financial period of the year and close all. It just takes a few minutes. Okay. So once the year end is done, or sorry, the year end, once the period is closed, Sage will generate these reports and it's just letting you know what the balances are for the end of the period being closed. Okay. Okay, so here are all my reports, and they're all just coming up on my other screen. So I'm just going to close them all one by one. And I've gotten the pop-up to say that they're all closed. Okay. If when you're going to close one of the periods and it tells you that there's another user in the software and you know that there aren't, the best way to do it is if you go into click on your little cog icon, the top right hand corner, or tools icon, and then click on user login status. And it just brings up a little pop-up window like this. And in here, it'll tell you if there's any other extra users in the system. So in here, we can see if there's any other users logged in, we'd see them in here. But if we know there's nobody else logged in other than myself, and it won't let me in, we can see here we have a disconnected user. I would click on that user and log off. Okay. And once that user is cleared out, I would then be able to go into my accounting periods and close them. So the next thing we need to do is then run the year end. We have our year end company created, we have our reports done, and we have all of our periods of the current financial year close. So the next thing to do is to run our year end routine. So to do that, go to the nominal ledger, period end routines, and in there we'll have the option for a year end. So in here, you're asked to confirm three things: that you've run your final trial balance, you've run your financial statements, which is such as your trial balance and your profit and loss, or sorry, your P&L and your balance sheet, and then any other reports that you require for the year. So we would suggest the age debtors and the creditors, but there are also, as we said, could be additional reporting that you need. Tick 3 boxes. The other thing to note is once you start this process, it can't be stopped. So if you've started the year end and you didn't mean to, you need to contact support. We'll need to restore a backup. This is an irreversible process once it's started. So click on OK. Depending on the size of the data set that you have, so the more transactions that you have, the more nominal codes that you have, the longer this will take. So it could be an idea to go get yourself a cup of tea or coffee while you wait. So what we should find when the year end is done, a report will be generated to show the nominal code balance prior to the year end being done and then after the year end is being done. So we always suggest check this report, make sure everything's okay, export it to PDF, export it to CSV, save it somewhere else outside of Sage. Once this report is closed on the screen, you cannot get it back again. So you need to save it somewhere. It's a handy one to come back and get because you'll never be able to get the balances pre-opening the first ledger of the year. So you're very, very, very starting opening balances for the year. This is the only way you can get them. So if once you open the first period of the year and your new balances are posted, you won't be able to go back and get those figures again unless this report is saved. Another thing to check and make sure on this report when it does come up is that all of your P&L accounts have now been cleared down to zero. And your balance sheet balances, they will still remain, they will keep rolling forward, but your P&L ones should all have cleared down to zero. Okay, so I got my report here on the screen and I'm just going to move it over. I'm going to actually switch the screens. So I'm just going to switch you to a different screen just so you can see what's come up in Sage. So When you run the year end and once it's finished, this is the report that you're going to get. You'll also get this pop-up up on the screen. So the year end processing is complete. It's recommended that you check and make sure your accounting periods for the next financial year have been correctly set up. Would you like to amend the accounting periods now? So it's like, would you want to open them now? What we advise for the moment is click no on this and we'll come back to it once we've done everything else. The last bit of work we need to do. So we're going to click no on this. And then it's just recommended that you run your verify your financial data and make sure it's okay. So click on OK to that. So this is the report that you'll get on screen. So as you can see, a lot of my P&L accounts down here, they had a balance at the year end, and they going forward into the new year, they no longer have a balance on. They've all been cleared down. So this is the only time that you can get this report to look like this. So we would advise the option is export it, export to PDF and export to Excel or .csv and save it somewhere so that if you need it, you can go back and get it. Because once you click close here, you won't be able to get it back. Okay. Okay. So once we have our year end, it's now been run. The next thing that we advise to do is to clear down your P&L transaction. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like before and after. So if we go to our nominal list here, and I'm just going to choose one nominal code in particular. So this one here, if I go in and look at this account and look at a transaction inquiry for it, in here we can see all of the transactions that are dated 2019. And if I was to, sorry, for the 2019 financial year, and in here I have another tab there called historical transactions. What we can do in the system is we clear down your P&L transaction. So what it will do is move all the previous financial year's worth of transactions, move them from current into historical, so that when we come to the new financial year, if we're looking at a balance that's on our P&L or it's a P&L nominal code, and we want to go and see how that balance is made up. If we go to the current transactions tab, if we haven't cleared down these the P&L transactions, in here it'll be all the transactions from all the previous financial years, not just the one that we're looking at and the one that we're interested in. So if we clear down the transactions, move them into historical, and then in the current transactions tab, if we were to export all of these transactions and export them out to .csv, add them all up, they should match exactly with what's on our trial balance. So this is what it looks like before we clear down the P&L transactions. Click close. So to clear them down, again, it's under the nominal ledger option, period end routines, and in here we'll have the option for account maintenance. So you use the option here for a year end, so remove the profit and loss transactions from the previous financial year, and it'll only go up to the end of the previous financial year. And click on OK. Okay, perfect. Takes the time, but it gets there. So what we'll find is if I just refresh my list in here, and if I go back in to look at this nominal account again, you'll see all of the transactions for the current year have cleared down, and if we go into historical and arrange them by date, in there we'll see the transactions there for the year. So the next thing we need to do is to open the first period of the new year. So to do that, I'm going to close up some of my menus. If we go to Accounting System Manager and go to Accounting Periods and Maintain Accounting Periods. In here we'll see all of the periods for the new financial year are all closed. So if you want to open them up, we can just click on the line. And again, if you're using one of the newer versions, so version 19 and above, you have the option, you can just click one of the periods and click on Open All, or if you're one of the slightly older versions, you'd need to click on ledger by ledger and open them one by one. So when you go to open it, it's going to ask you, do you want to post all the transactions for all the modules? We click yes. So if you have continuous processing for the new financial year, all of those transactions will be sitting in deferred if they're for the new financial year. So what the system will do is when you open up the ledger, and if the transactions are dated for January, they'll move from deferred into the current period. And they'll all be posted to the ledgers. Okay, perfect. And that's it. So that's all finished. They've all been opened. Okay. So that is then your year end is now finished. So what we would say is if you want any if you have any questions regarding the year end in Sage 300, then obviously please contact our support team. You can always contact us on our phone numbers 01822 3200, or you can email the support team at support@envisagecloud.ie. We have a little document or a PDF document, a 1 or 2 page document that can be used if you want to have that beside you when you go to do the year end. Another option that a lot of companies go for is if you want Envisage to actually run the year end for you. So we'll go from taking the backup, we'll run your reports, and we'll run the year end process for you. And you always contact our sales team at sales@envisagecloud, and the member of the team can quote you for the work. Okay, so thank you for your time. And again, as we said, if you have any questions, you can always contact our support team.